There it is.
All right. It says,
Awesome. Happy Thursday.
Happy
Happy
Thursday.
Thursday.
So welcome back to our Good Girlfriends chat. We are so thankful to be here another Thursday, and we have an exciting topic tonight, which is, do you work to live or do you live to work? But before we get started, I will introduce myself. Well, first I'm going to say, are we all still excited from yesterday? I mean,
Yes.
we have to acknowledge the historic moment of yesterday.
Yes.
Because one of our good girlfriends just became
Right.
the vice
Right.
president of the United States of America. So
Yes.
we have to give her a shout out for making history.
Yes.
Woo woo.
Along with all the other women in the world who have helped to save democracy and
Yes.
save our families and save everything. We're always saving people. So just giving a little shout out there. But just introducing myself, I'm Cara Dunstan, and I want to introduce one of my nearest and dearest friends. I call her my rock. I don't know what I would do without her. My friend Allison Tucker. She's more than my friend. She is my true sister. She might as well be a part of my family because, well, she is a part of my extended family, but I can't believe that we weren't actually literally sisters because we've been together forever, ever. So,
Everybody, thank you, Cara.
Hi.
I am a part of the family. I love you guys.
yes, Marcy.
Hey, Marcia Penn, Marcy. It's a good day. It was a great day yesterday from beginning to end, just filled with lots of joy and hope. So happy Thursday, everyone. Glad to be here again.
Bernita.
Oh, you know I don't know this stuff. Hi, everybody. I'm Bonita Bellamy, and today is National Hug Day. So I'm hugging all of y'all.
Oh, that's nice. We're going to hug.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's so sweet.
Last time we had a hug.
Right.
Right.
Virtual hugs. Right.
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 Cecilia.
Hi, I'm Cece, Cecilia Horton Jones. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Ah,
Hi.
Cecilia.
I guess I'm next. I'm Tanya T or TT. And man, just to say I'm still on the high. I know we all have sent each other messages, but yesterday for me, just whew, my emotions were everywhere. It was just of course, a great day for our democracy, but for women, for Black women, all the melanin that was just rocking yesterday, brown girls did it. And so, if anybody is not empowered even more after yesterday, then they need to call or jump into the good girlfriends because
Right. That's a good
good to
point.
be here. Good to be here. And while I have the mic, I'd like to introduce my beautiful niece who is joining us today, Miss Kayla or Kay. Miss Kayla is a 25-year-old entrepreneur. She has her hands in lots of different ventures. She's creative, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's loving, she's kind, and she is not only my niece, but she's like the daughter I never had, and a good girlfriend. So welcome,
Aw.
Kayla.
welcome. Welcome.
Hey.
My goodness. Wait till I really make it. Jeez. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate being here. Thank you so much. I'm excited. And let's not forget how Michelle Obama looked fabulous yesterday.
She did.
She slayed everyone's life yesterday.
Slay.
Yes,
Real
she
talk.
did. Yes, she did. Some beautiful colors. We have to give our young poet laureate.
Yeah. Yes.
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 She was
Yes.
outstanding.
Was
She was
Was
phenomenal.
awesome.
a
She
phenomenal
was.
young sister who was going places.
She's phenomenal.
22.
Do y'all know her
22.
Do you know her backstory?
Mhm.
Yeah, she's from LA, a bad part of LA too. And she had a speech
Speech
impairment.
impediment.
Impediment. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
She overcame great obstacles. She would not have
Yes.
known.
But
And
Yes.
but God.
Yes.
Nothing but God.
Yeah.
I'm Jeanette, everyone, and I'm so happy to be here with you all, my good girlfriends. I look forward to this time every Thursday. I start getting ready, and I was like, my daughter's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm getting ready. The show is tonight now." I'm just gonna say this one thing that I say every week. We are not experts. We come together every Thursday now. We kick it with each other. We share information. We love on each other. We lift each other. We support each other the
Yes.
way that good girlfriends should and the way that good girlfriends do. And so we welcome new guests to our virtual living room. And for those of you that have come back, we're so happy that you're back with us. And on that note, I'm ready to jump into our topic.
Woo.
Yes. And I just want to say, as far as this topic, which is once again, do you work to live or live to work? That this is definitely one of those things where we're just sharing our opinions. This is a subjective matter. And
Yeah.
we are not judging anyone who believes either way. We are just sharing how we feel and how it affects our lives. But I just want to put that out there that this topic, there's no right or wrong answer to this. There's no, judgment here, because that's what good girlfriends do. We don't judge. We just listen and accept you as you are. So that's just just wanted to put that out there in the beginning of this discussion, so that we can all share freely and know that you are supported. So anybody that wants to jump in, feel free, or I can get started. I'll start with the fact that for me, this is one of those things I thought about, and I was like, well, maybe it's changed, or it's one of those things like Jeanette mentioned last week about different stages of your life. But for me, I definitely at this stage, I work to live, and I think probably for a long time I have worked to live, versus living to work. And I realized, thinking about this, that I have actually built a career, but I don't think I went in with the intention of creating a career. I think I started off looking for a job out of college versus creating a career. It just so happened that I built a career. And I actually heard something that said that careers are built off of experiences, not really, going into a career. So maybe that's how that happened anyway. But I definitely know, to answer or to determine the difference, I definitely work to live. So
would agree. I say for me, I think right now I am working to live. My goal is living to work. And I think I work now as much as I do so that I can set myself up so that hopefully, God willing, I live a relatively long life, that I am able to reap the benefits that I'm sowing now of my work. There was a time when I felt really energized about what I was doing, and loved it. Now it's more of, so I probably was a little more living to work, because it wasn't starting out very profitable. But and now it's like I have to work because I need to pay the mortgage, I need food, and I need all these other things. So I'm hoping and praying that it will balance out over time. Not that I have all that much time left, but I want to be able to enjoy my sunset years. And so I'm working and putting away and trying to manage things so that, maybe I can retire early, or maybe I'll hit that lotto tomorrow and I'll be living to do nothing.
That's right.
Right.
I just wanted to say one more thing too, and I meant to say this before we even got started, that we are really, this show was meant to be generational, so we're really excited that we finally have our first. Are you a Gen? Which
She's a
generation?
millennial.
Gen Z.
Millennial.
Gen,
I honestly have no idea.
yeah, we have a younger woman on our show this evening, so we're very excited to have you and your perspective, because we want to hear from different generations. So you are our first guest and a different.
Yay.
So we are very excited about that. So I just wanted to bring that up. You know,
Well, I would love to if I can. I think if your point of saying that it's depending on where you are, I think that's very true. Because depending on where you're trying to go next will determine, am I working to live or am I living to work, in my opinion. For me, in my experience, I feel like I've always been living to work, because of just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what people expect of me. So I'm going to work this job. And at a point, it was like, I got a job, honey. You can't tell me nothing. Like, that's how I feel when I hear um, living to work. But when I hear work to live, I'm like, okay, I'm going for something. I'm striving for something. I know, like, my Charmed Up by K, my real estate, it's getting me somewhere. Like, I'm going to be able to be on a flight somewhere. That's how I see it. So I think it depends on where you are. It also can expose a mindset where if someone's like, oh, I'm working to live, like I'm struggling too. So I just think it depends on where somebody is in life and how they feel, because and I feel like you can be work to live and live to work one day. And like tomorrow I'll be like, child, I'm here. I'm just striving through.
I
So
love how you just. I don't know about everyone else on this call, but just how your perspective is different
Yeah.
than how I perceive working to live and live to work. Like that was just eye opening for me when you just said that, because when I thought of it completely opposite of how you thought of it. I thought of working to live basically to support myself, and living to work would be if I had a business or something of my own. And you flipped it. And so right there alone, I was like, oh my goodness. So that's very interesting to me. That's all I'm gonna say. But that was wonderful. Thank you for saying that, because it gave me a whole new perspective on the whole topic right there.
I thought about it and keeping what Allison was saying about working to live, and as I'm moving towards the sunshine, because so let me back up a second, because also thinking about generations, when I thought about this a couple of days later after we talked about the topic, there's also when we talk about generations, there are also women who have retired, and so they're doing some different things with their lives. They may be working another job, they may be working a part-time job, they may have jumped into something volunteer that they really love to do, but which also could be working to live or living to work for them, depending on what it is. But I think I also thought about working to live in terms of I'm working so that the life that I want to live, I get to enjoy. And this work is going to provide that for me. It's going to let me either chill, it's going to let me take the flight, it's going to let me pay the mortgage. But I know that I'm working for it from a means to an end. And so for me to have the enjoyment of life, because I don't want to get so bogged down that the work is taking over my day to day. And at the same time, I want to do a good job in the work, but I definitely want to work to live so that, and identify what living is for me, which is enjoying friends and family and travel. And so as I look to the sunshine and the fun times, but I also know that even after, when this job that I have is over, that there's still other things that I want to do, whether it's working, whether it's something part-time, whether it's donating my time to working more with my sorority. I know that I will not be just sitting here, that there'll be some work, because to me, it's also tied to the worth. Some of the work we do is tied to our worth, and who we are. And so I think when you get to the point where you can choose the work, when you can choose the work, or when even maybe what you've worked for is what you've dreamed for, you work for your life, I also think that speaks to the enjoyment of life as well.
I agree. And I love how Kayla said, ask me, and I feel the same way, ask me at any given moment. My answer might change, because it's just a matter of where I see myself or where I am in the moment. I mean, I think for most of my life, I kind of put the two together in the sense that, yep, I'm working to live because I like to live and I like to live pretty comfortably, right?
Right.
So then I got to live this life, and that means I got to work. So I think when you're able to hone into that balance in your life, when you strive and do find your purpose and you go out, and that's what I love about Kay. Um, she has a story, and I'm not going to sit here and tell her story, but what I love as a young woman, young African American woman, is I know her struggles even in 25 years. And but what I loved is that she was determined to do what she was passionate about. And so once she was able to find that space and that balance in her life where she was like, I'm going to do what feels good in my soul, what I think God placed me here on earth to do. And if that's me working to live or living the life I want and doing the work that I'm called to do, then that's what I'm going to do. And once got to that place, that's when she started to soar. And that's when all of the gifts that God gave her started to overflow. And as a person who it took me 40 years to kind of get somewhere halfway to that place, it was amazing. And so she brought and blessed me where I had to sit back and think, okay, how do I feel about, am I working to live or am I living to work? What space am I in right now? What is it that I want to do? Because I've watched and seen someone find their passion, their purpose, and just went out and did it. And and you start to see that overflow. So I think some days I'm working to live, and it's not necessarily a negative thing, because Tanya want to take a trip, she want to buy some new shoes, she wants to stay charmed up by Kay, but then the work that I chose to do, and in human services, I live to do that work.
So
Imagine hearing that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, imagine hearing that when you're a lot younger, instead of girl, just go get your money. And I struggle with that too, because I just want my money, just pay me your time. But you gotta have a balance of both. I think the right place to be is to be living a little bit of both at the same time. If you're too heavy on one side, then and I don't think you get that until you start having those good girlfriend conversations like, I ain't got no man, all I'm drinking is wine, I'm tired, or I'm traveling everywhere and now I don't feel fulfilled at my job, but I'm paid good or something. So imagine hearing that younger. So as you're coming up, it's like, hold on, do I want to do this or do I want to do that? A little bit earlier.
So I agree with you. I think that my perspective on living to work or working to live probably is in the middle. I think we all have to work. I mean, unless you're independently wealthy. So we all have to work. There's a part of our job that, takes care of our lifestyle, right? But I think for me, especially as I get older, it's important for me to live now and not worry about, because, we're only promised today. And so in the midst of you working to live, you got to live, right? And so even if you don't enjoy your job, you still have to figure out how to live. There's no, so to me, there absolutely has to be a balance. And so, and for some people, some of us are fortunate to, even when you love what you do, some days it's work. And some days it doesn't feel like work because you love it so much. It's what you're good at. It's what you thrive off of. But I think the balance is really important. We all, and prayerfully, Lord, bless us all that we can be independently wealthy at some point in our life, sooner than later. But, everybody kind of works to live to some degree.
Yeah.
Some of us
Yeah.
do it more than others. And,
Yeah.
as Tanya said, that balance is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, there go that word again, right, y'all? But how many times we've been talking about that word balance?
Balance.
That balance word is a key. And I think the most important thing is it's a mindset.
Mhm.
It's truly, truly a mindset because God says, if you do it unto me. Give it the best you got. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care. And yes, we human. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have off days. We're going to have crazy days. But you still need to work at, like you said, that life. God said, I came to give you life in abundance to the full until it overflows. If you get that in your mind, you could be sweeping somebody's floor. You could be a housekeeper. You could be cleaning somebody's house, but you'll have that joy that's set before you. So yes, I think it's where you are in your life. Yes, I think when we were younger and we like you said, Kayla, we came up with the hard people, the hard women. You better go out there and work. You better go out. You better get a job. Get a job. Get a job. I don't want a job.
Right.
I want I want a passion. I want a career. I want a purpose. I don't want a job. Don't sit me in the front of a 9 to 5 job. And this is me. I'm just saying this is me. I'm not a 9 to 5 person. I don't do 9 to 5. I don't do punching in on a clock. I don't do sitting at nobody's desk. That's just me. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. When I find my passion, I'm going to work that passion and I'm going to do it with life in me because that's the joy that's in me. That this is, I'm God and you allowing me to be a gift to somebody. You allowing me to sow my service. I'm a servant, period. That's just who I am. So I'm going to work to live out the best that I can do with what God gives me. So I'm going to constantly stay on working on me. That's because I'm the life. This is me. I'm the life. So I got to work on me so that I can exude life out to other people. So it's a mindset for me. It's truly yes. I've been there. I got to get a job. I got to pay these bills. I had a house. I had to pay the mortgage. I got to keep the lights on. Yeah, I've been there. But now I'm working to live. I want to live. I want what God promised me. And he said to have life in abundance to the full until it overflows. That's what I'm working towards. That's my main focus that I'm working on. My spiritual life. That wherever I am, I can be content whether I abound or whether I abase. If I got one bedroom and I'm in a one bedroom apartment, I'm gonna work on enjoying life. If I'm in a mansion, I'm gonna work on enjoying life. So I think it's so apropos what you said, Kayla. It's a mindset for me. It really is. It really,
I
really
think
is.
sometimes too, when you have kids, you work. I'm getting you work to live. Like so, you working all the time because you need to provide. So you gotta have a place. But once they older and they out of that realm, then you working on yourself. So then you wanna work to live. Like you want to be able to do whatever you want to do. You want to be able to travel. You want to be able to just do nothing. Or like me, late in life, taking up something that's my passion. Even though my 1st career was my passion, I love what I did. It didn't bother me to go to work every day, but I did it because I had to. Like I had to go to work because I had these 3 kids that looked up to me, that I had to supply, their every need for. And now they're older and they can supply their own need. It's like I can take care of me and I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to, I guess, still on this, all these emotions, personal emotions, still on a high from yesterday, and then sitting here and listen, and from the perspective of a young person who is dear to my heart, so that makes it even more emotional. But I just reflect that, she said something. Could you imagine being 25 and having this conversation? Because I think back to 25, nobody was talking to me
Nope.
about,
Nope.
last week's conversation was about the best advice your mom gave.
Mhm.
And I feel like we all had great moms. And I'm sorry I missed that conversation, but I did, view it. And my mother taught me so much, but she was a baby boomer. And her father, my grandfather was born in 1900. And
Mhm.
so he was a step from, slavery,
Mhm.
and grew
Mhm.
up in rural country Virginia, didn't graduate from high school and moved to Baltimore to be a longshoreman to, provide for his family, his young wife, who my grandmother was a domestic. And so they didn't have those conversations with their children, but they worked hard to provide, and all of their children ended up going to college. So my mother's siblings and their mindset was, girl, go to education, 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 which is great. But they didn't have the conversations. And I'm just going to share a little story. When I was in high school, and Cara and Cece and Benita and I, we all went to high school. We went to the best,
Yes.
hands down, high
Yes,
school.
it is. Yes.
And education was important. My mother was the educator, and she drilled and go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. I wanted to go to cosmetology school, go to
Mhm.
college. And she was like, that's not what you're gonna do. You going to college. And it took me years and years and years for me to have that conversation with my mother. I mean, I got over that, and I went to college, and I didn't go to college, and I went back to college, and then I didn't go to college. But I think there was always a little bit of resentment, or a little bit, I felt like I didn't do what I really wanted to do. But nobody at 25, at 20, and 19 was having those conversations with me about really exploring your passions. And so I feel like our generation and our children, we were a little more open, and that's why millennials and that next generation are a little more open to really honing into their creativity and their passions and what they really want to do, and why they don't stick around one place. Oh, this not what I thought it was, so let me go over here. Oh, I've been over the right too long, I want to go see what's happening on the left. Where my mother was like, you going to school, then you got your finance degree, you got your business degree, and you're going to get a job, and you need to stay there for 35 years and retire like I did. And that's what going to do. But so just hearing her say, just imagine having this conversation at 25.
Right.
I just, think about, and we talked about this, of how if I'd had this conversation, or if I had this perspective was, bestowed upon me at a different time, then, who knows? But, I think that everything happens for a reason, and we balance that out, and we transform and we change. And this season, we all, like you said, we looking for that sunshine. That's why I'm moving to South Carolina. I need a different pace of life. I've been working since I was 14. I still gotta work because I don't have them bags, Jeanette. I don't have them, so I still gotta work.
Right.
I really don't want to work as hard as I've been working.
Right.
Listen, I have this conversation all the time. My mother laughed at me because a few weeks ago I said, Mom, I think like when you get to be like 50 or hitting close to 50, you shouldn't have to work if you don't want to after 50. I think that is the age where your body changes, your mind changes, and you're like, it's time to do something else.
Yep.
So I also think, though, in terms of living to work and working to live, like you get to a point too that your priorities, and whatever age that is, that you may reduce some debt. You might change your lifestyle so you can live, because the job that you're working might be, you might be making a lot of money, but you're not living, right? So that's a big deal. Like, people have to evaluate that too. Do I want to make, X amount of dollars, but I don't get to spend or enjoy any of it, and I'm miserable? Or do I, get a different job? Maybe I'm making less, but I'm happy and I'm able to go to the gym, or, visit with the good girlfriends, so those are, things that you have to think about and consider. Everything comes at a cost, whether you're working to live or living to work. So
But
Yeah.
I know that there are some people who don't even know what it means to live. They
Right.
haven't
Right.
gotten to that place of understanding or to reflect or to stop, for a second and understand what it is to live their life of living or what they're doing, you know, is not really working for them, but they don't know any different. They haven't stepped back to do that check or that reset or that, reflection to understand what living is. And I hate all of those stories of people I know who work, and they go and retire and they
Mm-hmm.
enjoy a a, a day, a week of retirement,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gone, and they weren't
Mm-hmm.
able to
Mm-hmm.
even enjoy that
Right.
that
Right.
retirement life.
Right.
Look, I don't know the day nor the
Right.
hour.
Right.
I'm in my dash, but
Yeah.
one thing for certain, two things for sure. I'd have been telling the Lord, I want to. This is now this next chapter for me to slow it down, and I have certain requirements. I don't want to supervise anybody else, Lord. Whatever job you send me, I'm gonna supervise people for 25 years. I don't want to do it. I want to
Mm-hmm.
supervise Tanya and be responsible for Tanya in this chapter because I'm
Mm-hmm.
tired
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I want a different kind of life. So if I make it to a day where I say I'm retired, great. And hopefully I'll have many days after that to enjoy retirement. But if I don't, then this part of my life, I'm stepping it back some so that I can have all of that balance, so that I can eat right and work out and sleep right and read and have good girlfriends conversations and good girlfriends meetings when the COVID is over, and enjoy my beautiful niece and nephew and my son and my family. Like, so I think that, working to live or living to work, whatever, side of the scale you're on,
Right.
it's just good for people to stop and do some deep reflection to make sure that, wherever you are, that balance is there.
I'm in full agreement with that, Tanya. I know for my personal story about, I guess, what year was it? I don't even know. I guess 2015. And I say it comes from being on both sides of being let go from companies and being hired by other companies and having that experience in our generation where as our parents stayed somewhere forever. But at some point, I made a decision that I was like, you know what? I've had an interesting career. It's been great, but I'm not interested in working this hard anymore. And I want to do exactly what you said. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want, I'm not in a position to retire anytime soon. But while I have to support myself with a living, I'm going to take a step back in my career or in my job and enjoy myself. And I've had a much better life. I mean, there were years I didn't even go on a vacation.
Right.
And I'm like, who does that? Like, people should go on vacation. You need a vacation. You need to walk away. You need to, whatever. So now I take plenty of vacations. I don't leave a bit of vacation left, for rolling over. People are like, oh, I rolled over. I'm like, I don't have a minute of leave left to roll over.
Because if you roll over, they taking your time. What you? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the way I'm looking at it these days. I'm not leaving nothing on the table for y'all to take
Exactly.
back. I'm gonna take
Exactly.
everything that I earned.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, and I have, and I finally put some balance into my life so
Mm-hmm.
that I could do things like this that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time. I was tired. I wasn't as healthy. It was just not. It wasn't a fulfilling life. And I mean, though some of my work in my career I have enjoyed, and my own background, I started off. My undergraduate degree is in math and physics, and I did not want to do anything with any of that, like none of that. So I moved into marketing, which fits my personality much better. And at that point, I was able to do something that at least I enjoyed more, versus the whole scientific thing that I was moved into because I had natural abilities in that area, so seemed to be a natural fit, but it wasn't fitting with my personality. So but the balance part was really important. Even with doing something that I've enjoyed, it was still too much work.
Mm-hmm.
And since then I've taken a major pay cut, like major.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I'm a believer in God takes care of everything.
Yes.
I miss one beat.
Yes.
I mean, when I say major, it's some people.
Yes.
That's how much I've given up. But
Yes.
I haven't missed a mortgage payment. I haven't missed
Yes.
a meal clearly. I mean, I haven't missed none of the basics in life.
Yes.
And I've been able to take more vacations, which is
Yes.
great. So, I mean, you know, but you have to get to that point in life, like you said, where you evaluate, at least I think for our generation. I'm really proud to hear Kayla talking, because I think the next generation really gets it.
They are warriors. They are giants. I got 3 of them, and it's just like they are so different than what we came up with, and I love, love, love it. I think, again, I love how you pick these topics because they all intertwine with each other. The one thing that I see about living, it takes faith. And what we talk about, fear, it's a lot of us that are in fear of taking a risk, of letting something go. Let it go. If like you said, give up a salary, and I bet you start living. Give up something, and I bet you will start living, because now you out the boat and you willing to walk out on faith and let God help you live that thing out. I think it is so important.
Yeah, girl.
It is so important to let go of that fear and say, you know what, I'm a change. Because I was talking about this the other day about people in Baltimore. Just let's say Baltimore. The East Siders ain't never been to the West Side. The West Siders ain't never been to the East Side. That's fear. That is fear of a change. And I'm so glad, because I was there. I was so afraid of losing my business. I had a business for 13 years, and God said, give me your business. I need you to go home and be a housewife. Will you do that? Will you do that? And I did not know what it meant to live in that aspect. So I didn't do it well. But now, what? God said, get that business up, get that job up, give that job up, and watch and show you, and let me show you that you're gonna live. And not only are you gonna live, you're gonna live with that little bit, and watch me just explode that thing, and you're gonna be living like you ain't never lived before. And so here I am. I first moved to New York. What? I lived in Baltimore all my life. I ain't know nothing about moving to no other state. I was scared as I don't know what, afraid. But that was the best move that God could have done to me. Good God Almighty. He set up everything for me. Like you said, we ain't know where we were going. We ain't had nowhere to live. We ain't had nothing set up. We did not find somewhere to live until 2 days before my husband and my son had to go. And God just said, go. And we had to step out there on faith and go and move away. And then I had to change careers. I had to change all of that. But he said, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to give up your stuff to live my stuff? Then that's when you'll know how to live this thing on this earth, because that's really what it boils down to. It really boils down to, can you bring this heaven here down here on earth for you? For you. I don't care what you do. I don't care. I don't care if you're a school teacher. I don't care if you're a principal. I don't care if you're sweeping the floors. I don't care if you got a little a bucket that you go out there and you selling stuff on the street. Come on now. What's important? What is important to you? And like you said, that goes back to what is your priority, and then being able to step out there on faith and not let that fear keep telling you, oh, you can't go nowhere. We ain't leave Baltimore. So how you think you gonna make it? No. Cut the naysayers out and do what's in your heart to do. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
I heard a really good quote today that's been sitting with me all day. And it was that faith and fear both require the same thing, believing in the things that are unseen. And that just, I was like, oh, like, yeah. You know, you ever had one of the moments where you hear something and you know it. But now it's like, oh no, I understand that now. Like I get to choose. And I think that's why this conversation was like, I get to choose how I look at this. I can look at, it's one of them questions that really it can kind of expose you a little bit. Because it's like I can, say I'm working to live to survive, or I'm living to work to survive, and it be negative, and so it's just so interesting how I can believe that I'm going to fail, or I can believe that I'm going to make it. And they both hold the same power. And it's your choice which one you want to do. So if I don't know what type of audience you have, but if there is anyone that's around my age, we are very different, but we're also very different, and we want it so quick. We don't believe in process. And I'm honest about that. Like, I want to start something. I want to be rich tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because we feel like we don't have time. I think that's something that we feel like, from me observing like my aunt and my mom, I feel like now they feel like they're living. And so maybe us as their kids seeing them, it's like, I want a little bit more time than that. So it's like, I got to do this now. I got to have the baby now. I got to get married now. I got to have the job now. I got to have the career now. And no, we don't. Like, life is still going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. But you have the ones that are kind of, I don't want to say like me, because I'm a little bit of both. I want it now. And I'm like so focused and driven that I want to get my goals too and do it the right way. But it's back to what you said. It's all about mindset. It's all about how you view things, because that's really going to guide the trajectory of everything, I think.
Absolutely.
I know we talked about the faith and the fear and balance, and all of those words keep coming up. My sister has this. She has lots of sayings. I mean, we grew up on. I guess we all did. We culturally on sayings, and we always talk about trusting the process. But lately, she has just been drilling in me. She'll be like, "Sis, choose your heart. Choose your heart. What hard? It could be hard, or it could be hard but soft on the bottom. Like choose your heart." And I think when we're at that place where we're trying to balance everything, and I mean, as women and African American women, I mean, we strive. And this group of women, we talk about this, we strive for greatness. We're, a bunch of really smart and powerful women within our own right, whatever avenues we chose. And I feel like, we put pressure on ourselves to be the best. Whatever, I know for me, whatever I choose, I'm gonna go hard in the paint. I don't care what it is, whether it's, I'm gonna, get healthier today, to I'm taking this new job. I'm already working in my head how I got to go in, how I got to show them. Let me bring, TT from West Baltimore up in here, and let's get this work done, and let's do it. I'm already there working, and I haven't even started the job. So I think that when we take that time to think about how we really want this to look, whether it's the faith or the fear, how we choose our heart, where's that balance? That's when, that mindset, and that's when we decide how we're living, working to live or living to work. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just where we are in our lives, and we can always choose to be on either side of that coin.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do remember my father did, even like you said, even from the generation that we did come up in. My mother was the same mother you had, Tanya. My mother was like, you, and I talked about this, you weren't there. I was like, my mother said, you going to college. And I wanted to go into service. And she was like, no, you're going to college, and we're going to find a way to get you there any means necessary. But, again, I that was the best 4 years of my life. So I'm grateful, for that. But my father was the one that taught me, find out what you would love to do without getting paid. That's when you'll find life. He did teach me that. He said, find out what you love to do without worrying about getting paid. And I kept that before me. I kept that before me. So I was like that. I was willing to, okay, you know what? All right, I'm gonna try this. All right, okay, it ain't work. All right, I'm gonna try that. I went to school for business administration. I know. I same thing. What I'm gonna do with business administration? I don't know. But then once I did business administration, I know that I'm a servant. I know that I like hospitality. I know that I like staying in a hotel. I know I like 5-star service. So I said, what more to find out how you get that, how you get it. So when I do get it, I can say, oh, you ain't giving me 5-star service because I know what that really feel like. So I went into the hotel business and I worked in the hotel business for 7 years and I got the good jobs and did everything in that genre. And then next thing I know, something happened. Again, we know, like we said, life happens. Okay, life happened and something turned around and I had to go another route. So I got into fitness. I started being a personal trainer and an aerobics instructor. So I did that for years. And then I was a entrepreneur and I knew I wanted to. When I got out into the fitness area, I found out, again, I found out what I wanted. And I said, if that's what I want to give, I got to go and experience it for myself. So I liked working, making my own schedule. I was a personal trainer, so I could say, oh, I give you an hour, and then I go and do whatever I wanted to do, and then I got another client, not until 4 o'clock, and I was good with that. Or and I go teach a class, and was getting in my fitness at the same time. I'm getting fit. I'm getting, and I'm serving people. I'm still in the serving atmosphere. So it was still all hospitality. It was still giving 5-star service. So I enjoyed that too. Then next thing I know, here I go. I'm gonna be a daycare provider. So I was a daycare provider for 13 years. So it's like, oh my God, I enjoyed every aspect of all of those things. Um, and I never really worked for money because I heard what my father said. If whatever you love to do, the money's gonna come. Let it be what you love to do first, and the money gonna come. You're gonna be taken care of, like you said, Cara. God always worked it out for me. He always worked it out for me. Yes, we had some trials and tribulations. Yes, but he was still right there. And I can, and I think, like we said, when we look back on it, it's a mindset. I actually did live my life. I really did enjoy my life. So I can say that I really did enjoy the stuff, even though it was hard, even though it was times where I had to work for a mortgage and all that kind of stuff. I still enjoyed it, and I still lived a life that was pleasing to me, and I'm grateful for that part. And now I'm here. I I came here to California. I wasn't working. I know what to do. I was like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do? So I volunteered. And so when I volunteered, again, that was put into my head. My father said, do so. That's all I kept hearing. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do something that I love to do. I'm going to work with seniors now. I love seniors. So I'm going to start exercising for seniors. So I went to a senior center, just going there to volunteer. Okay, can I file some papers? Can I answer the phone? Can I, just so I could talk to somebody? That's really where I was. I said I just wanted to talk to somebody and have a community because I didn't know anybody here. I just needed somebody to talk to. So lo and behold, she was like, "What is it that you're good at?" And I was like, that's a good question. I'm good at a lot of stuff, but I said I'm a fitness instructor. She said, "Oh, that's it. You hired today." And I was like, "Really?" And now here I am. God has said, your gift will make room for you. My gift, I volunteered for it. I didn't ask them for any money, and now they are blessing me exceedingly more than I can even imagine or ask. They tell me, here, take this check, take that, here, take this. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So I'm gonna keep that in my forefront of my mind. Do what I love to do without expecting to get paid. And that's how I'm going to continue to live my life. And God going to supply my needs. And I'm going to let him do what he do. That's, yeah, real talk.
I feel like the younger generation does more of that, and I feel like our generation we struggle with that because we got jobs, we had careers, and we had responsibilities, and so I think that that's what that we have more of a struggle with that. But I, on the other side of that, feel like once you decide what's important and you go for it, then you free yourself. That's my word. I feel like
Yeah.
talking about freedom.
Yeah.
Can I ask though, why? Why is it so hard? Because all of mine comes from things that I've seen. Like my willingness to be like, I'm about to just take this little step here and see where I get comes from the people around me. So that means that we get it from y'all. So why can't
Question. That's the answer to your question. We talked about it last week, how our mothers shaped us, and that's generally what has happened. Our families and our parents have shaped us to the point of that. So that's a good question, Kayla, and you answered it. It's basically
Right.
do what you know. I believe in life. You do what you know or what you see, and
Right.
and then anything outside of that is when you get the uncomfortable feeling.
Because
Like
Kayla,
we was always taught, like, you don't leave a job unless you have something lined up. So we wasn't as free spirit as y'all. Like my daughter would quit a job in a minute and go out on faith. And I'm like, how can you do that? Like it drives me crazy because I'm like, responsible. Like she's like, mine, I wasn't happy there and I can't go to work and be miserable every day. And that's not what I really want to do or whatever the case may be until she found what she wanted to do. But, I was always told you don't leave a job unless you got something lined up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't even say where she get the free spirit from because it ain't from me. Because I wouldn't, I'm sitting here like this worried for her. She could care less. In her mind, God is going to work it out for her, and it worked out. And so she said, "See, man, you up there worried, and everything worked out fine." But I think that's what we were taught, that you don't do certain things, and that's one of the things. You just don't just go out on a limb. Yeah. And I think you all have that free spirit, and you go out on the limb, you take those chances, and I kind of love it, and I love it, and I'm afraid of it at the same time. So
That's
I love how you think, and I love how you just like, I will go for it.
So I think that brings me to my point that I said earlier about how Kayla doesn't even realize how much she has helped me and her mom, because Kayla, Bubby, her thought process is so different than your mother and I, and so although Bubby is my mother, so her viewpoint was a lot, poured into us, but through our experiences, one of my monikers, if you know my IG handle, it's free to be me. Well, I didn't find that until I was close to my 40s. And so by me really understanding that, it doesn't matter what my mother said, what my daddy said, or any my good girlfriends say, knowing what's best for me, I have to dig deep and know what's best for me first. And then everybody else will just have to come on board or not. And so, and that's, and so I feel like that change in my mindset, and my sister and her evolution to the woman she is, that we raised our children a little different. I was all about, raising my son. I was all about exposing him to everything. You don't know what you don't like until you try it.
Right.
Tell me you don't like X, Y, and Z. I'm exposed, so that's why he was exposed to every sport, every instrument, every club, everything. And so that helps you mold and shape and understand what you like, what you don't like, what feels good and what doesn't. And so I think you've been exposed to that and had different experiences that, than I did and that your mom did. And we've always kind of given you guys that open door to do what feels good. And you, Ryan, TJ, in your own ways are definitely um living that life of, let me try this. If this doesn't work, this
Right.
don't feel
Try
good, then
something else.
I'm gonna try something
Mm-hmm.
else. But Bobby didn't really give us that freedom. Like you said, you need to go to college. You need to do this. You need to find a job. You need to have a job. I worked on my job 40 years. What you mean you leaving your job? Huh? How can you leave your job? What about your pension? What about this? It's just I think, just different times, different experiences, and different seeds that and those generations before us, we're still standing on all of that. But our society and the changes in our world have dictated our lives to be a lot different than the lives that our parents and grandparents and great grandparents grew up. So,
And Kayla, it's so funny. I'm thinking back when I was your age, and I had my first job. Actually, Allison, who's on the show, she helped me get my first job, and I was a we were elves. We worked for Keebler Cookies, and we sold cookies. And I remember waking up one day after I had been on a trip to Freaknik down in Atlanta, and I came home. Well, I hadn't taken a vacation because they worked us. They worked us, didn't they, Allie? They worked us to the bone. And I took a vacation finally, and I came back from Atlanta, and I decided that I was quitting my job because they got on my nerves, and I didn't have another job. And our generation, like Tanya or some, I think Tanya just said, you don't quit, or Cecilia said, you don't quit a job until you have a job. And I remember I was like, I'm quitting, and I don't have another job, but I'm quitting. And I stepped out on faith. And I remember, and I had been accepted to one graduate school, but because I had been in Atlanta that weekend, I decided I wanted to move to Atlanta and go to another grad school. And I applied late. I mean, very late, but I stepped out on faith. And I mean, that's why I'm like, it's all a matter of your comfort level too, because now that I'm thinking about it, I have probably lived most of my life like this. Like, I've quit so many jobs. If it doesn't work for me, I quit. I might
Me
not
too.
have another job, but I'm like, you know what, that's not working for me.
Me too.
And I will find, and I know my worth, I'll find another job. So, I think it's all a matter of your comfort level too. But now that I think about it, I have lived most of my life like that. And I mean, it all worked out. I went to graduate school. I got admitted last minute. They even found money for me to go. We were just talking about this with our classmates. I found money, so I didn't have to pay for it. It all worked out. Of course, then I convinced my rock that she had to go with me. I told Allison, I was like, you need to quit your job too and come to come to graduate school. So we did.
And I did.
So we did. We moved to Atlanta. But I mean, and it was the best 2 years of our lives. We talk about it all the time. It was the best 2 years of our lives. But if we had we had stayed in those jobs, I can't even imagine life if I had stayed there stuck doing something that was horrible. I mean, it was manual labor along with, I always say it was the best first job because I had to stock shelves in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning when the cookies got there. Then I had to dust myself off, look cute, and go talk to a store manager to convince him to let me have some more shelf space. So it was like a balance of manual labor and professional labor all in one. So it was a great job. But the point of the story is I knew that wasn't my end all be all. I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I was like, I know there's more for me to life, and I'm just gonna have to go for it and that was not a popular thing to do when we were coming along.
Yes.
Not a popular
Yes.
thing. I mean, my parents were looking at me like, what is wrong with our child? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, seriously, there must be something wrong with you that you think that you're going to do this. And I just had to keep pushing forward. I was like, you know what? They had already taught me that I had to stand on my own 2 feet. So whether I fell or I kept going, it was on me. And I was like, you know what? I wasn't expecting a penny from them. They didn't give me a penny. I wasn't looking for any of that. I just had to make that decision and go for it for myself. So it's hard. I mean, I just remember back then, a lot of people thought I was crazy, not just my parents, but everybody thought I was crazy just to give up something to move to something uncertain. But now I look back and I was like, it's the best thing I ever did
Best.
in my life.
Yes, me too, Cara.
Yeah.
That was years ago. And do you know, I mean, my
Me too.
situation now, people like, you're leaving your job, you're moving there, you're taking, but telling my story, I know you mentioned earlier, Carl, in 2017, I was going through a divorce and left out on my own, took nothing, just left for my peace, for my freedom, for my sanity. And I moved out in June. I go back to work after moving out and I get laid off the first time ever in my life. And I'm like, God, what is this? I'm utilizing all my savings because I left everything. I just took the clothes on my back, my car, and my collectibles. What in the world? And now I'm without a job. And it was the scariest thing because I never been fired or laid off from a job. So I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. But now reflecting back, when I accepted the job that I took, I got 2 job offers. And I did not want to do finance anymore. And so I was offered a job at T. Rowe Price, and then I was offered this job with the mayor's office. And I was like, the Lord kept telling me, MOED is where you need to be, MOED. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a $25,000 pay cut. It's local government. I never wanted to work for local government. I mean, I stressed, but I took it because God told me to take it. And now making this move, I'm going into local government in South Carolina for a job that I'm so super excited about. And I know that God, that's why he placed me at MOED, to learn the ins and outs of local government, because he's like, girl, you don't even know that you're going to South Carolina in 3 years, and a job, the first job, the only job you apply for, you're going to get it and it's yours. Oh, and I didn't tell you, it's going to be another pay cut, but you good because I got you. And so all of that, sometimes that's that stepping out on faith and letting go of fear and just understanding, Lord.
I agree. I always say God is a God of chances.
Yeah.
I love that. Time and time and time and time again. And I said, he never leaves us. He said, I'll never leave you, forsake you. So I feel constantly, and sometimes it's difficult because even Bernita, you were talking about some of the talks we've had, even when Dr. Portia was on, and we were talking about different things we're trying to accomplish, and we just couldn't do it. Okay, so sometimes you're like, I just can't do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Do that thing. It's okay. We need to be okay with just not doing that thing, or maybe we need to lay that thing down for a minute and come back to it. But in the meantime, there's other things that God's going to give us. There's other chances. So when I hear everybody talk, I hear about all the different chances that God gave us. That we've taken. And Kayla, all the chances that you are taking, even in your young life. And we had, parents who were different, who said, you're going to do this and that. And some of us did this and that. And then you had other ones like, no, I'm not doing that. Cars, another minute. And then we made some of our own choices. But at the end of the day, he continues to give us choices all the time and time and time again. He pours favor onto us all the time. And what I've become so grateful for is to see that favor when something as little as a parking spot. I'm like, favor. Just so very small. So to get the favor and then to recognize it, those are just some light moments for me. When that happens. So when I listen to all the sisters and I listen to us, whatever decisions we made, they were choices put in our path.
Yeah.
If something happened that wasn't good, if it was a divorce or marriage or death, then right behind that, something else was coming. And as Tanya, as you said, like there you were in one job, and that prep that he's doing doesn't have to be 5 minutes later, it could be 5 years later.
Yes.
You have no idea. But another chance and another choice is coming each and every time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've made it.
Amen.
I have made it a policy. It's just been throughout my career. I've sometimes I say sadly, but I'm not going to say that. I have not followed the money. I've listened to what God has told me to do.
Mhm.
And I mean, clearly, I mean, just recently in the last couple of years, I was offered a position that I had so many friends like, I can't believe you're not taking that job and you're going to stay where you are. I mean, it was a huge increase in pay. I mean, it had a retirement, some retirement benefits. But when I looked at it, well, first of all, I didn't hear God telling me to move from my current position. And until I hear that, I don't move no matter what. I don't care what the number on the table is. I just stay where I am because when I looked at it, just like we're talking now, my work-life balance was going to go to the other side again. So
Mhm.
I had gained my freedom and I
Mhm.
was willing to give it up to go back to making whatever the money that, looked like I wanted to make on paper. I was like, well, that's not going to work for me. I don't hear him telling me to move. And also he's showing me that though you can make this, the life that you've created for yourself now where you can serve me better in whatever capacity I've asked you to serve me and, enjoy yourself more and have some more balance. Is that really worth the number on the table? And at that point,
Mhm.
a job that I had seeked for so long. I mean, I wanted this job probably most of my career. I knew at that point that that door closed and I wasn't even going to look for that anymore. And
Mhm.
and I haven't looked back.
Mhm.
It wasn't a popular decision by any means with so
Mhm.
many people, but for me, it worked, and that's how I've had to live it.
Amen. Amen.
Something that you said a while ago was that I always think about, and you said one day we were riding somewhere, and you were just so matter of fact. What God has for me is for me.
I say it all the time.
All
I
the
say it.
time.
I,
Time.
All the
told,
time.
I said it last week that I say to my girlfriends all the time. What God has for me is for me.
Yes.
I live my
Yes.
life like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
I embrace that so much
Yeah.
because I think, earlier on in my career was probably, you think about what your next step could be, but now that's always in my mind and in my heart, like, well, God, if I don't attach myself to a specific outcome anymore, because
Yes.
if it's not for me, it's not for me. And I let it go. I try to
Yes.
not have too much fear about things anymore because
Yes.
I would get anxious, like, oh, I need this, or,
Mhm.
what's going to happen. But I'm, there's more faith here with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I have to tell my mother that sometimes too, like, why are you worrying about that stuff? You believe in God, he's going to work it out. So just chill. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's how I thank you for that nugget.
Absolutely, Allie. I say it's a sense of freedom.
It
That's
is.
Yep.
it's freedom. That's your freedom. When you can get to that point where you know what's for me is for me, it gives you the freedom to be who you are and to support other people in being who they are.
Mhm.
Amen.
And you
Amen.
see examples of that over and over again. Like even with this recent election, think about Joe Biden stepped into his role as a government official, the youngest one, served for 30 years, and now is the oldest president.
Yep.
And threw his name, his hat in the ring a couple of times to be president.
Yep.
Didn't get it because it wasn't his time yet.
Mhm.
Right? And think about in the beginning of this whole process of electing a new president. I don't think any of us thought initially, like I'm talking about in the beginning when Kamala was still in the primaries, that Joe was going to be the one, right? But look at what God had for him. No one, no circumstance could change that. So I firmly believe that too. Like that
Mhm.
that is very freeing.
Mhm.
So to manage yourself. And so I think, Kayla, at some point in all of our lives that we've operated, in a free space, as because I think as you get a little older, sometimes you become more risk adverse because you tie yourself to stuff and things, right? But when you reprioritize, like we're talking about now, then you start loosing yourself from those petty things that bind you, right? Right? So So we are, like this conversation is freeing for all of us. Like we're
Mhm.
going through some transitions, I think all of us, which is
Yeah.
why we're having this conversation. And having you here is a blessing to us to just
Mhm.
remind us. Like
Yeah.
I think you serve as a reminder.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta free ourselves. Well,
Mhm.
and walk in faith,
Mhm.
and know that God has something for all of us.
Mhm.
So that no situation, no person, no whatever can take away from us. So
And I just I think about Matthew 16:25 and your willingness to be able to let something go. Your
mm,
own life, where it says, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. That's my mantra now. I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to let it all go. I'm willing to let a house go because I've been there and I've seen that God still provided for me.
mm,
That's the life I'm going to keep living for. I'm going to give it up. What you want me to do? We talked about that as far as tithes. Remember, Cara? Oh, God he gonna blow your mind. He be like, oh yeah, get that $10. Now get that 10,000. How about that? Will you give me $10,000 out of what you have? I'm willing. I'm willing to lose it because I know that that's where I will find my life in Him. So I'm willing to lose it. So that's where I got life at right there. I'm willing to lose this all about me and to give God what He desires for me, because that's where I'm gonna find life. That's where I'm gonna find joy, and that's where I'm gonna keep that as my mantra. Really, I'm willing to lose to have His life.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah,
Everything that's like when you were telling your story,
yeah,
every time you were in a transition, it was always and then or and now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
those moments were
Mhm.
always the ones where I was like, "Who Jesus?"
Yeah.
It's like I
Yep.
don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm looking. I don't know where I'm about to go. I don't know who I want to talk to right now, but
Yep.
I'm gonna do it. And
Yep. Amen.
every time I've had one of those moments, when I tell the story, it always comes out as and then.
Yeah. Amen.
And I didn't
Yeah.
realize it until you were telling your story. I was like, every time she go to her next step, it's and then and
Yeah.
now I
Amen.
realize, now I
Yeah.
see. It's
Yeah.
always like that, but you can't see until you take the step.
Yeah. Come on.
So it's
Amen.
always that decision. It's always that, for sometimes like my first step was I was sick and tired.
Mhm.
And it's not always that. Sometimes it's just I'm just ready. Like I know I can do it, but it's
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
that decision, that step, like I'm about to do it now.
Mhm. Mhm. And it could be a good one, like you said, Kayla. It could be a good one. It's just that your season is up for that right now. Are
mhm,
you willing, even if you love it, are you willing to let it go so that I can give you something else? And then, right? And then, are you willing to let that go? I know you love it. I know you found life in it. I know you enjoyed it. But are you willing to let that go to get something else? Because this is continuous. Life is continuous until you leave this earth. Don't let that graveyard tell you who you are. Don't know. You live to go to the graveyard. Don't let the graveyard look for you. You live to go there. And that's where that's where I am. I'ma live like tomorrow is not no more for me. That's where I am. That's it. I'm living like tomorrow is my last day. That's where I'm choosing. So I'm going to continue to work to live that. That's where I want to end up at. So
Kayla, it's funny when you said, well, not fun, well, it's kind of funny to me because you said I was sick and tired. I think you just said I was sick and tired. And I've heard my current manager is about to turn 35 years old, and she's Black. So we have built a relationship outside of work where we talk sometimes, and sometimes she shares with me her frustration with corporate America at 35. And I keep thinking that I'm like, you haven't even been there that long. In my head, I'm thinking that because I've been subjected to it twice as long as her. And I'm thinking, but why should I have been subjected to it that long? So it's good that you're acknowledging that you're sick and tired and you're making a change, because I shouldn't have been subjected to it that long without making certain changes either. And so, I just, every time you say something, I'm serious. I'm like, she's so on it. You got it, because all these things that we've lived through, or we're thinking for, I think for my generation, why were we doing that? Like, why I'm not going to say why, because we had our lives, but I'm just saying it was just refreshing to hear you saying these things, because like you said in the beginning, wouldn't it have been great if we had acknowledged these things at 25 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully earlier.
Right.
Because at 25, I'm like, I wish I would have known this years ago. Like, give this to me
Right.
at 17, so I could have skipped all of this.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Versus in our 50s, or older as we are on this call. You know what I mean? Like,
But
it's
also
just,
at the same time, going through it makes us who we are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Experiences, enrich our lives. I always tell my son, all the no's you're gonna get, we're gonna set you up for that yes.
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 You need
That's
one yes. You're gonna get some no's, but when that yes comes, be ye ever ready.
Yeah.
Yes is for you. As you said, what's for you is for you.
Yeah.
When that one comes. So having these experiences and having the bumps, and the falls, to me those are all life lessons.
Yeah.
Stronger, they enrich our lives, they bring us to this point where we are right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ladies, it's that time of the live where we share an African American owned, female owned business. And tonight we're excited because our special guest, who has blown me away the whole entire night, Kayla,
Yes.
is also our business owner that we're highlighting. So we're going to turn it over to Kayla to tell us about her business or businesses.
Right.
Well, I'm on here for Charmed Up by K, which is one of my and then moments in life. If I was to give a little background, so I am in real estate. I started that 2020, right before the pandemic, right before we even had an idea. I took a step, left my job. So, that was like, okay. So I'm going through that, going through my highs and lows with real estate, and my car broke down, and I was like, I got to make this money back. Literally. And I was like, I want to do something I need a release. I need something. Well, it started with waist beads because I recently lost weight. And now it's grown to the point where I have handbags and necklaces. It's blowing my mind. So it's one of my and now moments in life that I'm really, really excited about. So thank you so much for having me on here. So what should I show some things that okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna start. I have a school set now. For some of you, it's a rival. It's Randallstown High School, but that's my mom's. That's my mom's high school. But I am working with my aunt for some poly sets. But basically, I make some charms. I'm gonna try to focus it in.
Oh, that's cute.
So I make customized charms. You can put your face in them. Here's a necklace I made with my mom's face. That light is like really bad. So sorry. But it has a face in it.
Is it a picture or is it?
It's a picture. So you can put anything you want in them, but I've turned, bracelets. This has Randallstown on it. It has the year she graduated. They're all custom. Has a ram on it because that's their mascot. I've made a necklace which just has like pretty charms on them that give you all your colors, and that's in a set with bangles and a link chain bracelet. This necklace is something of mine that is on Charmed Up by K, the website. I have handbags. I have like a bling soccer ball bag, which sold beyond belief in my opinion. So I'm excited about the things I'm going to transition with my business. I'm going to hold up a tray so you can see how crazy I can get with it.
Okay, yes, you do have to make something for Polly now. Come on,
We
come
working,
on
I'm
now.
working
Come
on
on,
it.
sis.
I'm working
Come
on it.
on.
I was working on, these are all,
Wow.
Oh, those are pretty.
Oh, wow. Those are pretty.
Yeah.
this is a set. So these are some customs that I've made, some that were pre-made. Everything that's pre-made is always on the site. So you can always check that out. And if you need some new jewelry or accessories, but if you have something that you want custom made, I do that as well. I have, I'm surrounded by sororities and fraternities, people who are in those groups. So I have an Omega necklace that, I'm selling. I do stuff like that. I have some deltas and AKA bangles, and I can make them into beaded bracelets as well. This has the pinky in it. I'll have to send some pictures to you guys so you can post them. But then this has
Nice.
Very nice.
So just different options. I like to make stuff that is truly yours. No
Mhm.
one else has it. But when someone says, I want a custom piece, I'm like, okay, I want to talk to you. What you like? Where do you like to go? What's your favorite color? Because when you get this, I want you to be like, you put me into this piece. So that's my favorite part. But then I also just like to put stuff together. I love to add a little details to outfits. So I just like to share that with the world because everyone likes to be cute and pretty. So it's my favorite part. But that's pretty much my Turned Up by K. I do sell real estate and I do credit repair. That's part of my and thens and downs of last year as well. So those are things that I've added to my roster as of last year. So if you know anyone that's looking to move to North Carolina, I would love to be a resource, not even just to buy, just if they have questions, they want to know where to go, if they just need someone to talk to.
So
I
you're, so
would
you're,
love to be a resource.
so you're real estate licensed for North Carolina then, right?
The state of North Carolina, yes, for now.
That's right. That's right. That's the attitude. That's right. Amen.
Now.
Awesome. How much are your custom pieces? Just give us a range, like just to give a sense of pricing.
So a 4-piece beaded bracelet set starts at $35 and it can change based off of things that you would like. A 4-piece bangle custom set starts at $25. If you want like a necklace with your picture in it, that's only $15. I'm trying to think what else. Men's bracelets are $12 a piece. I know men don't usually wear sets, so people usually get like 3 or 4 and they like make them all different. So I do that as well. I can't forget about the men. They wouldn't allow me. I tried when I first started, but it was like, no. What else?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just the customs and everything else. If it's on the website, then it already has a price. So, you'll just see if you like something that way. But
put the information in. So it's Charmed, CHARMD up by K, right?
yes.
By KAY.
KAY. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. And you have a Facebook page and IG by the same Charmed Up by K with the CHARMD up by KAY.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Awesome.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share and to have this conversation. I love these conversations.
Well, I hope you will come back. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Anytime. This was fun.
When we started this Good Girlfriends chat, the intent was for it to be multi-generational. So we would love for you to come back. And I mean, I can't even tell you how just the initial thought of how I looked at the phrases work to live and live to work was changed by your comments. So I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Seriously, I would love to come back. So anytime. I really enjoy these conversations.
You have our Zoom information. It never changes. Any topic or any week you want to join us, you are more than welcome to join us. We don't change the information, so you can always.
You were really a
Okay.
delight. Sarah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be careful now, because I'll be back every week. They'll be like, is she part of this or not?
We love it.
That's my girl.
I love it. I love it.
And Allison, thank you for joining us too. I hope this
Nice
is on
meeting you, Allison.
as our new Madam Vice President says, I hope that this is the first time, but not the last time. Well, she said she hopes she's not the last. I added a few words, but I hope this is just the first and not the last for you.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Oh, good.
And nice meeting you, Allison.
Likewise. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Allison.
So, well, thank you, ladies. This was another awesome discussion. And as I always say, I hope someone is being blessed by our conversations. I know that I personally am. So, anyone have any parting words before we go off this evening? No?
No.
All right. Well, thank you all. And we hope you have a blessed evening and a great weekend. It is Friday Eve, so have a great weekend.
Yes.
See
Bye.
ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.